Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is Friday. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for a special one-off video today. I'm going to be talking to you about the Session Magic Convention that just took place last weekend at London. Now, the Session Magic Convention is organised by Vanishing Inc. It's been going for many, many years. I'm old enough to remember when the Session Convention was organised by Andy Gladwin and Rob James. It was before Vanishing Inc. even existed, and it was in a little hotel in Gloucester. And over the years, Vanishing Inc. was born. It became bigger, it became bigger, it became bigger, and now the production value is incredible. You've got like huge stages, you've got amazing names coming to be a part of this convention. It just gets bigger and bigger every single year. Now, it's been a bit weird for the last 2 years. Last year, it took place in the summer. And the reason it took place in the summer is because we were just coming out of COVID in January, so it got pushed back. The year before, it didn't even happen at all, again, because of COVID. But yeah, it's back. It's back when it should be, which is in January, in freezing cold. And let's break down what I thought of the Session Convention. So, yeah, first of all, it was held like it has been for the last 2 or 3 years, or the last few years. It was held at the Radisson Red at Heathrow. The Radisson Red is an amazing hotel. The prices, by the way, are ridiculous. That's something you need to bear in mind. I mean, this isn't Vanishing Inc.'s fault. It's central London. You kind of have to expect it, but you end up having to pay a fortune because you're not really going to be leaving this hotel much. Because everything takes place in the same hotel. It's not like Blackpool, where a lot of people go to the Ruskin, where you can get a pint for like 40 pence or something. You're kind of in this hotel the whole time. When I bought a pint, it was I think £9 for a pint of beer. I took my family to lunch because I went there with Ryan and Thea and Sarah. I took my family to lunch in a little restaurant. Me and Sarah had 2 small chicken tikka wraps, tiny things, done. And a handful of crisps. The kids had cheese sandwiches, and that was over £40, £50 I think it was, and no drinks. That was just for the food. So it's a very expensive thing when you're factoring in going to the session, factor in £1,000 food bill and drink bill. Having said that, there is a McDonald's down the road, so you have got a McDonald's like literally 5 minutes away. There is a petrol station that sells stuff, so you can actually do things on the cheap. But if you're in the bar sessioning, it'd be weird to go, excuse me, just going down the off license, going to sneak some tinnies in here. So that's something to bear in mind. It can be quite expensive, especially when you're sessioning. Now, before I talk about the content of the actual session convention itself, the thing about the session convention is the sessioning, right? It's about chatting to each other and sessioning, and the whole venue is set up for that. So you've got this massive area with lots of tables where people can sit down and show each other magic, and that's happening from the first thing in the morning until the last thing at night. Everyone's sitting down, sessioning, and having a great time doing so, which is really good. That's one of the big things about the session. The best stuff that I saw at the Session Convention this year was not in the lectures. It was not in the dealer hall. Instead, it was out in the bar, chatting to people, talking to people. That's where the good stuff was, right? Although this year, they shut the bar early. They shut the bar at like midnight. I remember on the first night, Pete Turner was like, hang on, they've shut the bar? What's going on? How can they shut the bar? Go get some beers. But yeah, I mean, I'm used to going to conventions like Blackpool where, it's open, the bar's open till like 6 in the morning and people are still drinking. It's like last man standing. That wasn't the case at the Session Convention. The bar shut relatively early. But people still stayed up and sessioned. You weren't kicked out or anything. It's just that the bar shut. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the really good stuff that I saw in a second, but let's just very briefly break down the 3 days of the convention, because it starts on the Friday, then you've got the Saturday, then you've got the Sunday. Registration opens at 10 o'clock on the Friday. The first the first lecture was Matt Baker. Anybody who watches this channel knows that I'm a big fan of Matt Baker and the Buena Vista Shuffle Club, always have been. His lecture was amazing, but also provided one of the highlights of the whole convention from my point of view, which is when he brought up a spectator to help him with his final routine, which was Card College, one of Matt's best routines in my opinion, and he brought up Roberto Jobby, who wrote Card College, and just the interaction that the two had for each other. Oh, have you ever heard of Card College? No, I haven't. It was hilarious. Matt unbuttoning his shirt and seeing a Card College t-shirt underneath, and then asking to borrow a deck of cards from Roberto Jobby and being given Card College cards. The whole thing was just hilarious, and that's what I like to see in a lecture. I like to see stuff I like the lecture to be as much of a show as the show itself, and that definitely delivered on that 100%. Another highlight of the whole, I'm not going to break down each individual day, I'm just going to talk about some highlights. Another highlight was Pete Turner. Pete Turner was incredible. Just amazing, like just amazing. Many people have said that he stole the show, and yeah, I kind of agree with that. Pete is just the man. He's the GOAT when it comes to mentalism, and he just gets better and better. He's like a fine wine. He gets better with age. Who else have we got that I can say? I had a gig on the Saturday night in central London, which was insane, but this illusion show came in, and I was like, well, hang on a minute. It's 40 minutes away from where I am here at the session. So I had my team drive down and set up the illusion show. I walked in, they handed me a mic, I went on stage, I did the show, and then I caught an Uber back. So because of that, I missed Richard Turner. Richard Turner's show, Cheat. Each night they had a different show on. So the first night they had Nick DeFat. I've read his book, I've seen some of his products, but I've never once actually seen him live. He was brilliant, very, very funny, very funny. Really great show. You can see why he's considered one of the top comedy magicians in the world. Just a hilarious show. The second night was Richard Turner, Cheat. Everybody was saying that was one of the highlights of their convention. I completely agree. I wish I was there. I was in the lecture the next day, but I wasn't there for the actual show. But, you know, it's Richard Turner. It's amazing. And then the last night, which I'll get to in a bit, was the Gala show. So there was a show on every single evening. Another highlight of mine, I very rarely buy lecture notes. I just don't, it's not something I do. But I did buy lecture notes from Morton Christian. Morton Christian had, in my opinion, probably the best lecture of the whole convention was Morton Christian. Really workable stuff for a stand-up performer. Some amazing card material, some great ideas with coins for a stand-up performer. His thing with the metal detector is something that I'm absolutely 100% going to be doing. And for those people that were there, his card thing where he had the jumbo card and it changed, I picked one of those up at the end of the lecture. That was brilliant. That was so good. Yeah, that was really good. Any other lecture? Well, Jackie Yu was a highlight for me as well. Jackie's lecture was great. I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize just how damn good Jackie Yu is. You know, a lot of people just don't realize because they see him on Instagram, but they forget that he's like, he's entered FISM, he's been on BGT, he's done all of this different stuff, and he's got skills, man. He's got skills. So he was doing this thing that blew everyone away, where he showed his hand empty. Somebody picked a card, he showed his hand empty, put his hand inside a see-through sort of Ziploc bag, made a card appear inside the bag. It's not the card, and then shook it and it changed into their card, and then took his hand out the bag and gave it them. And it was the most insanely difficult trick that I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was just watching it and I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to do that in a million years. And there's him just casually going, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this. And I'm like, man, are you a robot? Like, what the hell? It was really good. And you know when you're halfway through the explanation that you get a massive round of applause that you've just done something incredible. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Vanishing Inc. always deliver, right? They always deliver. When it comes to these session conventions, they've become so well put together, and the team at Vanishing Inc. have grown to such a point that it's almost physically impossible for them not to do well. One thing that I tend to find with a lot of the session conventions is a lot of the lectures tend to be more theory-based as opposed to trick-based, which is fine. Although I do prefer my lectures more trick-heavy than theory-heavy. It's fine. That wasn't the case this year. I mean, there were some theory lectures, absolutely. And there were these little sessions which were quite good as well. And there was some great stuff that they talked about in the sessions that were quite nice, and that was very theoretical. Stephen Bridges talked about his experience cheating at not cheating, sorry, advantage playing with cards, and that was fascinating. I've followed his journey on YouTube, so to see him deliver it in this environment was very interesting. Just the whole thing is really good. There wasn't one bad name on the bill. I think everybody that was there deserved to be there. There wasn't one person that you went, you know what, I hated you. That wasn't the case at all. I also thought that they did a great job by getting Steve Faulkner in to host the whole thing. So Steve Faulkner, big shout out to Real Magic Reviews. If you haven't already done so, go check out his YouTube channel, Real Magic Reviews. It's a really good review channel. Just really good. Steve is such a knowledgeable guy, and he did a great job with the hosting of the session. You just a truly professional class act. And there were kids events as well. I asked Ryland, because obviously I wasn't allowed into the kids events. I asked Ryland what they were like. There were two of them, one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday. He wasn't particularly enamored with the ones last year. They did this last year. He wasn't particularly fussed. And he was like, yeah. This year I asked him, and he said they were great, absolutely fantastic. He was telling me about, when he came out, he was like, Jackie Yu took a slinky and turned it into a pack of cards. I'm like, what? And then I saw him do it in the lecture. It was really good, actually. And then finally, before we talk about some of my highlights, I'll talk about the Gala show. I thought the Gala show was great. And again, the hype. So first of all, I should mention Mark James killed it the entire time he was there. I didn't see his lecture because I was going to a gig. Ryland said his lecture was one of the highlights for him, but he's a massive Mark James fan. But I did get to see him hosting the Gala show, and he did an amazing job. Funny, but to the point, just the perfect compare. Did his fire act, which was great. Did his cigar box manipulation, which he's known for, which was also really good. And I think it was a very smart thing for Mark to go down the route of juggling and fire eating and stuff, rather than magic, with all the different magic acts that were on there. It's why he's such a clever guy. And he dialed up the comedy tenfold. He had the line of the whole convention, in my opinion, which is where he just stood in front of the audience and he said, there's no need to applaud. The sound of furious scribbling from pencils is all we need, which I thought was just so funny. But I always find Mark James funny. He's bloody brilliant, that man is. Anyway, Morton Christian stole the act for me, in my opinion. He did, when Mark he told me afterwards he was going to do Silk to Egg, or something along those lines, and he had it all in his pocket. No, Half Dyed Silk, that's it, Half Dyed Silk, and he had it all in his pocket, prepped, ready to go. And he was watching Morton Christian on stage, hilarious, brought the house down, standing ovation, as you would expect. And he came out and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to bring the next act on. And the next act, unfortunately, was Matobi. And I don't think it was the right placement for him on the bill. I think his act suffered a little bit. It was the weakest act, in my opinion. I mean, he's a FISM winner. I'm not going to say he wasn't great, but it was the weakest act, in my opinion. Maybe I was quite far back. I couldn't really see what was going on. But also, I think coming on after Morton Christian would be a very difficult thing to do. Arthur, somebody or other, I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry. The math guy was great in the Gala show and in his lecture as well. It's just mind-blowing what that guy does. And Jackie Yu closed the show and did so with style, because it's Jackie Yu and everything he does is brilliant. So the whole lineup was great. However, the best stuff I saw was not in the actual official part of the convention. It was the stuff that was happening around the outsides. So let me talk to you about some of the stuff that I saw that I thought was amazing. So first of all, Christian Grace was showing everybody a brand new thing that he's got. It's a mind reading. It's a product, but it's a mind reading thing where he was telling people to think of anything at all, and without writing anything down, without saying anything at all, he can tell the person what they're thinking of. This is going to be one of the biggest tricks of 2023. I was lucky enough to actually be told how this worked, and it was mind-blowingly good. I'm so excited about this. It's accessible to everybody, and my God, it was amazing. James Keatley showed me a trick which he's bringing out at Blackpool, which I think very possibly could be the trick of the year at Blackpool. It's an incredible coin trick. All I'm saying is when you go to Blackpool, make a beeline for James Keatley's stand, because he's got something coming out which changes the game if you're a coin magician. Genuinely really does. So you've got that. What else did I see? I saw some amazing stuff by Mark Elsden, 2 optical illusion type things by Mark Elsden, one of which, the coffee trick, he actually gave me a set, which was really nice of him, which was the best application of that particular thing that I've ever seen. But also, on top of that, he also had this other optical illusion with some coins, which was equally as good, if not better. So that was great as well. Some stuff from Noel Quarter. He showed me some of his material that's coming out this year. Noel's got this thing that is just gonna make him as rich as Andy Gladwin and Andy Gladwin and Josh J. In all honesty, this thing that he's got coming out, that he showed me the prototype for. Oh my God, it's good. I can't say anything, but look out for stuff that's coming out from Noel. It's incredible. And he also showed me an app, which is just as good as well, which is coming out later this year. What else did I see? I saw some incredible, towards the end of the convention, Mark Elsden just dragged me over and then said, hey, you got to see this guy. He's doing this card thing. You need to see it. And it was a regular deck, and he showed it me. And it was so cool. Mark even gave it a name. He said, he told the guy you should call it every card at every position. I don't want to say what it was, but it was, oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing. I shuffled the cards, completely thoroughly shuffled them. No idea how it works. Blew me away. And I watched it twice, and the second time it confused me more than the first time. And that's what you get at the Session Magic Convention. You go there and you get fooled over and over and over and over again. And that's why we're into magic, to be fooled and see new stuff and cool stuff and sit up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning until you can't keep your eyes open just watching all of this amazing new magic. Henry from the Young Magicians Club showed me a card gaff, which in my opinion is one of the best card gaffs I've ever seen, and it's going to take over the world. He showed me, he's what, 14, 15, 13, I don't know. He's young, and he's created this card gaff at the age of 9, which is bloody amazing. I showed it Lloyd, who's in my opinion one of the best card gaffers in the world, and Lloyd just watched it and looked at it and went, how on earth did you even make that? I mean, you know, when you have Lloyd Barnes saying that you know you're onto something special. I believe that he's going to be releasing this year, and he should, because it is so super, super cool. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. I could go on and on and on. But ultimately, you know, this is a recap of the Session Convention, and the Session Convention was incredible. There was some amazing stuff. There were some amazing people. It was great to meet new people, make new friends, reconnect with old people. Not old people as in 90-year-olds walking around going, oh, my day. No, I'm talking about old friends. Just the whole thing was super fun. And it was a great little thing to happen at the beginning of the year. Now I'm excited for Blackpool. I'm excited for Blackpool for a few different reasons, but one of the main reasons is I won't have to spend £9.50 on a pint of beer. That's the only thing that I'd say about this. The hotel is great. The facilities are great. Ryland made full use of the swimming pool, but damn, please find somewhere where the beer is slightly cheaper, especially when you're at a magic convention. But yeah, it was great. Congratulations to Andy, congratulations to Josh, congratulations to George and the rest of the Vanishing Inc team for once again putting on an incredible magic convention. I haven't mentioned the dealers, by the way, and the reason I haven't mentioned the dealers is it's not a big deal. Vanishing Inc have their stand open for the whole 3 days. They are selling what they're selling. They didn't really have anything new out for the session. But they're selling what they're selling, you know, which is great. But then the dealers are only open on the Sunday, and there are only a handful of dealers, probably because they only got 1 day to deal. So I can understand why there were only a handful of dealers. But yeah, you know, it wasn't really about the dealers. Magic Dream, if you ask me, had the best booth in the dealer hall, but It's not about the dealers. It's about sessioning with people, sitting down with people, showing each other magic, and seeing some really cool acts show you what they can do. That's what happens at the session every single year, and they did it really, really well. Like I said, congratulations, Andy, Josh, George, Damien, and the rest of the Vanishing Inc team on another incredible convention. Well done. So there you go. That's another video in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. I really, really appreciate it. We've got some great stuff coming up this weekend. I've got an interview with Drew Perry. Drew Perry is a Hollywood prop builder and a magician, and it's a very interesting interview. He's gonna have some big things in 2023. Look out for him. I've got a review show special on Sunday that you really want to see. One of the longest and best Q&As that I've had. The questions were amazing. We got a ton of stuff coming up on Magic TV this weekend, so make sure you tune in. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. And finally, if you haven't already joined the NETRIX, please do so. It's www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. We are now open for business. You can come and see what all the fuss is about. We're on to almost 1,000 subscribers. We're about a couple of hundred off. So come and join the NETRIX. Be where all the cool kids are. I'll see you again. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic.